So now that you already have your sides done and you've assembled the box, it's time to start making the drawing files. So let's go up to New, Drawing, and the first time you open this up, it tries to default into size C paper, which is too large for what we want. So we're going to change right away the size of the sheet by right-clicking on Sheet, go down to Edit, and selecting from Size A size paper. This is normal printer size paper, 8.5 by 11. Now this box is too big. To get rid of that, let's delete the ANSI large, and in your drawing resources, go to Title Blocks and double-click ANSI A. Now we want to put in for the base. Let's start with our 12-inch side. Actually, no, let's stick with what your paper has. We'll start with the 8-inch side. And what I found works is going with the half scale. So 8-inch size, half scale. We want the front side, a right side view, and an isometric view. So you go click, 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 right click, create. Let's double click on this isometric one and select shaded. It's going to make it look more realistic, and this is what the finished part is supposed to look like. And now we're going to add dimensions, and when you add dimensions, I want you to establish a datum. So first up, we want to go up to where it says annotate, use our dimension, and a datum is like a line that everything comes from. So for instance, from this line to this line is one dimension. I'm going to uncheck edit dimension when created so we can just put them all on the paper at once. I'm going to call this my datum. That means that from here to the middle of that circle is one dimension. From here to the next line, and put another dimension. And we use this baseline every time we go to add a new dimension. We always start from this datum. Okay, now we're going to dimension up, so I'm going to use this as my datum. So I click on the datum first, click on the next line, drag it out, and I'm going to finish with this 4-inch one. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks. First off, I have center marks on each of my circles, and anytime you have a circle, you should have a center mark. Those are located here. So you click center mark, then you click on your circles, and I'll add those in for you. Then I want to show you, so hit escape or right click and say OK. This 0.63 is not this 0.625, and it doesn't have the TYP after it. So we're going to edit this. Double click this, space, type in a capital TYP. This stands for typical. This means that anytime that we see a dimension like this one from a baseline up to a hole, so from this one to this hole, this one to this hole, this one to this hole, it's always going to be this dimension. So it's a typical dimension. Now if we go to precision and tolerance, you'll see that the actual value is 0.625. The model value is right now saying 0.63. So we need to change the primary units from 2 digits after the decimal to 3 digits after the decimal. And select OK. Right? Now up here, this is also for locating the holes. We need a TYP after this. So go back into your text tab, type a capital TYP, select OK. For making holes, this is a hole, so we can use the hole and thread feature. Select the hole, click on here, right click, select OK, double click this, and we're going to change this from just 0.25 through to 0.25 through times 4. So it's saying for these 4 holes, they're drilled all the way through the piece of wood. Through means all the way through. Okay, last hole, so we click hole and thread. Select the circle, select outside of it, and there are 2 of these, left and right side. So let's double click on this, space, and type in X2. Otherwise it has the diameter, like how big or round it is from one point to the other point, and it has the depth of the hole as a 1/2 inch. Let's say for some reason you were looking off of my paper and you notice that this is 1 inch instead of 0.5 inches. It's supposed to be 0.5, but let's assume that you really wanted it to be 1. If you go back to your original model, which I have here, I could find this feature. So if I mouse over my browser bar here, I find this is the hole. If I double click the hole, I can change the distance from 0.5 to 1. Say OK. And then when I go back to this is changed to a 1 on the one side, and you can see this is much deeper than this. This is still at 1/2 inch, this is at 1 inch. Let's change that back. This is just showing that you can still edit parts. Okay. Last thing that we need is the thickness here. So if you right click or if you select dimension from up here, same thing. And we also need a location for this hole. How far up is it? Once you've selected OK, if you need to rearrange anything, just by clicking the red box and dragging it, and dragging this up a little bit, you can do so just so it looks pretty on your paper. And these are always going to be lined up with each other. Select text, click in the top box and put in your name. Go down to where it says title and type in what it is that you're looking at. So in this case I'm looking at the 8-inch side. And it tells me here this is the component I'm modeling it off of. So if you use proper names for components, that'll help you. Your scale on this, I said is half scale. But if you're not sure, you can come back over, hover until you get the little red outline, and double click, and it'll tell you here it's half scale. So let's go back to text, click inside here, type in 1/2. And now you don't have to do anything else. This drawing number is going to be whatever you save the whole paper as. So instead of starting a whole new sheet and going through and setting up for A size again, go back to where it says place views and select new sheet. Now sheet 1 is still here, and we can relabel sheet 1 as 8-inch. Sheet 2, we can rename this as 12-inch. Go to your base, find the 12-inch side. You have the front view, the side view, an isometric view. Double click on the isometric view, make it shaded. And I'm going to quickly go through and add dimensions to this. And you should be able to use what you already have as your PDF for a reference on what it is I'm looking for. Remember, I'm using this as my datum. This is that rabbit. This is getting kind of close to the edge here. Let me check my scale. This is set at half scale. That's what the original one was too, but I'm noticing that this was smaller, so let's change this to a quarter scale. And move this up to the corner. Gives me a little more space over here. Make that a 1/2 inch up. It's 0.25 thick. Here this is supposed to say 0.625. You may remember how to fix that. Go back up to hole and thread. Let's put in a dimension here. Oh, here it says has a depth of 0.5. Well, I want it to say through, so I have to go back to my 12-inch side, find the hole that that's referencing here, and change this from distance to through all. Now it says 0.25 through. Put a little x2 behind it. Make an x4 after this one. Means it happens 4 times. And almost done. Let's change this precision and tolerance to 3 digits after. Let's grab this number and drag it over to the other side so we can see it's 0.25 and it's not overlapping. And anywhere we have those holes, we have to put in center marks. Finish it off with your name. Title. Scale. Okay, continue doing the rest of your parts like this. And if it turns out you're going off the page, you may have to readjust a little bit and keep everything on. Good luck.